Hello everyone, this is H&L Commentary again, bringing you another stream of a pub game that we found. Once again, I am having a co-caster. We've got National here again with me, so he can say hello himself.
Hey.
And this time we were looking around, seeing who was online and playing, and we were able to find EG.Fear was actually online playing some matchmaking games, so we just kind of followed him in here to this game, and we're going to cast a game by him. So Evil Geniuses, I think we covered it earlier when we cast one for Demon, but they did get an invite to the International. North American team, been doing very well recently, so real excited just to watch him play a little bit and be able to comment on his. So
I speak for the trees.
got a bunch of last minute picks here for both teams. Didn't have a whole lot to look at there. I'll go over the Radiant team since they've got all their heroes picked up. We do have EG.Fear. He's going to be taking the lone druid this game. Most likely going to be jungling. So then we've got a Brewmaster. Looks like he'll be going bottom lane. We've got a Tiny that might be going top. Then we've got a Morphling heading mid. Not sure where Vengeful Spirit's going to end up. He might be supporting bottom, might be going top. So we'll see how that goes for him. And I'll let National go over the Dire side.
Alright, so we see top. We're going to see Skeleton King going top, it looks like. Expect him to... I'm guessing he's probably going to have some sort of a babysit or support with him. Hold on, I'm lagging just a little bit. So I'll let H&L take over on the Dire while I try and figure this thing out.
30 seconds.
Alright, a little technical issues it sounds like for National right now. But we do have a Crystal Maiden might be going up top to support. We do have a Nature's Prophet heading mid, and I want to point out this is after the patch where items were implemented. Looks like this Nature's Prophet already has a sweet new staff for you guys to look at. Looks like he might be actually taking the solo mid roll here. We've got a Dragon Knight heading bottom here, and then Skeleton or Sand King will round out that lineup, and we'll see if he ends up going bottom or top, or how they decide to split those heroes as their supports. Game starting here. We've got a DD rune going to be picked up by Vengeful Spirit. Not sure if he'll be trying to help out this Morphling mid, or if he'll end up going top with it, so we'll see about that one. I think I've actually got a bug. Oh, there it goes. Wasn't letting me click on the mini-map there for a little while, but doing good now. So we'll see how this mid lane goes. I do think Nature's Prophet is going to have the better time. He has the longer attack range, and Morphling just with that slightly shorter, ranged attacks. I think he's just going to have a bit of a difficult time with the harass and the creep farm.
Absolutely, we have Vengeful Spirit coming in behind him. He's going to throw off the stun. He has the double damage, and we're going to see if he's going to get the kill here on Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet not throwing up the Sprout. Almost ends up killing him. Vengeful Spirit's going to escape with... He's not going to escape. He will be killed by the Dire. Not First Blood because it was killed by the tower, but he did almost have that Dr. Doom. Unfortunately, pushed a little bit too far. Didn't have enough damage to back out. Didn't have enough damage to take down the Nature's Prophet.
Sad First Blood for Vengeful Spirit, almost got it himself. Instead it was gotten on him by that tower. We do have Lone Druid just farming up this jungle, and we do have a ward placed down here. I think it is a little bit out of place to block two camps, but I think where it is now, it should block the camp from respawning that Fear is currently farming up. So it's not too bad.
One thing, his bear is very close to dying soon. He's only at 30 health. He might actually die from his creep camp. It looks like he will die. His bear will die. I guess he does have it up in 2 seconds, but he does not have any regeneration whatsoever. So those harder camps are going to be pretty difficult for him. As he keeps going in those harder camps, his bear is going to keep dying. Looks like he just brought himself out. Something on that courier. He got a stout shield for that bear, so that should make this farming a little bit easier.
I'd like to point out, while we don't have too much action going on down here, other than Brewmaster getting harassed a bit, do have Nature's Prophet actually thinking about TPing in here too, but decided it wasn't worth it. That the ward's up here. The Radiant did place a ward here just so they can protect themselves from ganks. It just gives them some vision. Doesn't block any camps, I don't think, or it might actually block this bottom camp here that we're looking at. But then they also put one up here to block this pull from them. And while the Dire did try to put down a counter ward, they put it just kind of right in the perfectly wrong spot where it wouldn't give them sight on either of them. So Crystal Maiden did have to drop down that second sentry ward to be able to allow them to try and start pulling here.
We do all know how important those runes are. We do have a rune top and bottom rune for either side, so that'll be definitely helpful with the mid heroes there trying to gank early. Some action going on here middle. We're going to see Sand King coming in, gonna get the stun on Morphling. He's gonna throw up the Sprout on him, but he's gonna use a Tango and get out of that. So Morphling's gonna survive here, but he is absolutely getting dominated here in the creep killing. Looks like he is 3-0, while Dr. Doom, Nature's Prophet, is 9-7. So it's 16 creep kills to 4 right now. Very dominant performance early by this Nature's Prophet.
Looks like overall in the creep kills, the Dire is definitely getting the advantage of it. They've got a Dragon Knight, Prophet, and Skeleton King all at about 10 or over. Skeleton King's actually at 15, which is the highest right now. But Fear is going to be catching up here pretty soon once he gets rolling there in the jungle. And then also Brewmaster is actually doing pretty good with 11. Brewmaster also uses Tango to get out of that Prophet Sprout, but then just too much stun from Sand King and Dragon Knight down there to actually be able to escape from that. But good try by Brewmaster. Do have another kill for the Dire side.
Up here top, we haven't been getting a whole lot of action going in here. There's some Sentry wards placed around, just kind of placing those around. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on here for this tiny, not very good situation up here for him. He's up against a Crystal Maiden and a Skeleton King who seem fairly aggressive, while he is a melee hero that doesn't have a whole lot of mana generation right now. He only has 1 Tango left. He did pick up a level in that craggy exterior, and it doesn't look like he has any other levels, so he has 2 skill points waiting to be used. Not exactly sure what he's doing there. I have no explanation for it. Doesn't really make any sense to me. I guess there is that Skeleton King there, so craggy exterior might have some sort of viability, but I don't really see that being very viable in this game.
If you look at him, I'm not sure if he actually put points into stats. Yeah, he doesn't have any stat bonus items, but he's got the +4 here on all stats, so I do think he put those 2 levels into stats just to give him some more health. He's definitely going a defensive build here, but I mean, even if you want to do that, I would still level up at least like 1 level in stun to, you know, throw it down as you're running away possibly. But so really interesting build by Tiny there, especially when he's not going to be having any farm. One thing that's real dangerous for him is that Skeleton King did get an early Soul Ring. So I mean, anytime he comes up, he can get hit by Skeleton King stun. He's got no chance to run out of mana, and then Crystal Maiden also helps him out. Had Sand King there dodge a nice magic missile by Vengeful Spirit by going into that invis just right before it hit. So good play by him, just save himself some health.
Morphing's going to grab that important regeneration rune, or he's going to activate it. Those runes are just so important in this early game. You'll see Morphling does have his bottle. Doesn't look like Nature's Prophet's going to go for a bottle, which is completely understandable. It's not generally a... I mean, it can definitely be viable, but it's definitely... There's better options in my opinion for Nature's Prophet, but these 2 wards that we have here down at bottom for the Dire and at top for the Radiant, very important in the early game.
We do have Tiny falling top, and it looks like with the 3 heroes up here, they might put some pressure on the tower, although it looks like they're actually just going to be real passive and back up at this point. We do have down here at the bottom, Brewmaster did use his ult to pop out and was able to take down Dragon Knight. Looking to just get up a little bit of farm here before he actually backs up. Isn't able to take down the Nature's Prophet on his own, but good play by Brewmaster getting the Radiant team their first kill so far.
You'll see these roaming heroes on either side, both having very big impacts on the game so far. That Sand King got that kill top on, helped the kill top on Tiny, and middle Morphling's been having a lot of help lately by that Vengeful Spirit's been kind of hanging around. See, Vengeful Spirit goes down, he's gonna get that stun off on the Sand King, gonna throw up his wave, but it's not really gonna do enough damage. You can't lock him down enough to do enough hits with those illusions. We're going to see Dragon Knight come here, throw out that Dragon Breath. He's not going to do any more damage. Vengeful Spirit does have his stun if he needs to. He's going to throw out the stun. He's going to just kind of hit on him with his illusion. Sand King's going to come in. We're going to see Sand King's going to have the range. Not going to have the range to get off the stun so far, and he just gets it off. He's going to be finished off by the Dragon Breath from Dragon Knight. We have Still Bear in there, his Spirit Bear and him to try and get some kills. Morphling comes in there with a wave form for the kill on Dragon Knight. It looks like they are going to abandon Sand King for now.
Good play there by the Radiant overall. They did end up losing a Vengeful Spirit, but they did take down a Dragon Knight for it, so I'd say that's definitely a trade that I'd be willing to make in this sort of game. And then it also got the Lone Druid and the Morphling a bit of money there for the kill and assist. So overall, not a bad little play for him. Hurt Dragon Knight's farm a little bit, so sitting in a pretty good position there. Just, you know, trying to make the best of it, any trade. Looks like this top tower is taking some damage here. Skeleton King is able to keep Tiny back, and he still is level 5 without getting anything in stun or toss, just leveling up that craggy exterior and stats. So obviously not working out real well for him. Not really sure if it's a serious build, if it's something he actually thinks will work or not, but you never know. He is able to just go down between Skeleton King and Crystal Maiden because he had nothing really to defend himself with except for running away, and just too much stuns and slows between the two of them.
The Skeleton King's early farm is just outrageous compared to the rest of them. He's at about 410 gold per minute. He's had over 47 creep kills, which is the maximum in the game. He's 15 creep kills over any of the players on the Radiant. So this farm top from the Crystal Maiden up against the craggy exterior stats Tiny has just proved very dominant, and I feel like he's going to be a very key player on that Dire side. I don't think that there's anybody right now that's able to oppose him. Looks like Morphling's been getting a good amount of farm, sitting at about 37 creep kills, so he's getting some good farm there. If he's able to get that Lincoln Sphere early, if that's what he's going for, that'll be very key. There's a lot of single target disables from the Dire side, so that'll be key if that's what he's going for.
Down there on the bottom lane, Radiant had a good chance to get a kill on Dragon Knight, but by the time that they were ready to attack him, Brewmaster was too low on health. Here we do have Vengeful Spear getting blown up by the Sand King with Invis Rune as well as the Nature's Prophet, so unfortunate for him that Invis Sand King was coming down, but oh well, you know, it happens. We do have the Bear doing his best to defend, and then we've got Fear back in the forest, just trying to hide from people, make sure that he doesn't get caught out, because there's just too much damage here, even by his tower, to be able to survive if he got caught out in a bad position. We do have Brewmaster back with full health. Might be looking for a kill on Dragon Knight. Definitely is. Throws down that Thunderclap, and then looks like they are going to go for Prophet here. I don't think Brewmaster's ult is up if he wants to split and use his stun to kill him, but I think he's going to just try and do it without. One more Thunderclap should do it, or just an auto attack. Just takes him down old-fashioned style. Sand King is going to throw out the stun, see if he can't kill him. Instead, it looks like he might die himself, except a good stun by Crystal Maiden to save him. Very nice play there, saving his hero.
So this Tiny up top, I don't mean to switch gears or anything, but this Tiny up top is officially going a very defensive build. He has his boots, and he has a stout shield back in his stash. He has 2 stout shields and a level and grow. So he's gonna get stunned, and Skeleton King's gonna take him down in 2 shots. This is definitely not a serious build from this Tiny. By this time he's basically thrown away the game on his part. The Skeleton King has way too much farm, and he's basically thrown away all semblance of an early and middle game for this Tiny, which is very unfortunate.
At this point, I feel like it would just transfer from being possibly some sort of a defensive build or defensive strategy into just a complete troll strategy. I mean, not leveling Tiny's spells is just, kind of ridiculous on all levels, especially at this point. I mean, he is level 6 already, and he is leveling his ult. He has those 2 stout shields. He's just going for an all melee damage Tiny at this point. We all know that's really not going to be useful to his team at all, so we'll see if the carries on the Radiant team are going to be able to pull it out in the end or not. Both teams have very strong late game, so it'll definitely be interesting to see how this game turns out for him.
As you can see from the chat, there is a strong possibility that this Tiny has been drunking, like some of the players that feel so need to put in their color commentary like us. But I don't think there's a whole lot that they're going to be able to sacrifice from this. Brewmaster's going to get brought down pretty far, but he's going to pop that ult. Very hard to kill him when he's in that ult. He's going to come back on his Earth form, so it's not always good to position yourself by the Earth form. He's against 3 heroes by himself, so if they can just kind of bide his time out, it looks like his Primal Split is almost over. He's going to appear right there. There's nothing he can do. He does dodge the Sand King ultimate, or rather Sand King misses the ultimate. The Morphling's going to come in with a waveform. Going to get an easy kill there. We're going to see if Brewmaster's going to be able to escape the Sand King. Looks like he will. Sand King does have his Burrow Strike, but he is out of range due to the superior move speed of the Brewmaster.
Do still have this Morphling run around, tail end of his double damage rune here, see if he can't pull out a kill on possibly the Crystal Maiden. He does wait for him in. Did get the kill on Dragon Knight there, so that was really good for him. Coming up here, we do have Brewmaster getting caught there by Nature's Prophet, but able to get away again. So just doing a really good job, just kiting everyone. Does another shockwave to slow down Sand King, and then throws out the Drunken Haze as well. So, and then Morphling will finish him off with the waveform. So Sand King really wanted that kill, was always just the tiniest bit out of range of being able to do that last bit of damage, and turned out poorly for him. Just kind of overextended, just a little bit too far, chasing past that tower, and ended up going down himself. Very good play by Brewmaster for escaping, and Morphling just picking up the kills all over, able to find Crystal Maiden there on his own, using a haste rune, and taking him down there. Comment on a couple items people have. Morphling has his Perseverance stun. He did pick up his treads. Got Vengeful Spirit. Still not very many items. He is just supporting Dragon Knight, picking up that cloak, a little bit of magic resistance, and then Skeleton King looks like he finished up his treads and is probably going for an armlet by the looks of it, getting that Helm of Iron Will.
We're having Dragon King coming down here. He's almost about to hit it. He's going to come bottom. He's going to go up against that Tiny. I can't stop talking about the Tiny. Maybe he knew we were talking about him, maybe we were casting or whatever, but it's very unfortunate to see players of this caliber, especially this Fear from Evil Geniuses. He hasn't been doing spectacular early, but he hasn't been doing bad. He's been kind of biding his time getting the farm, and it's just very unfortunate to see players like this that like to do this, and it's just very unfortunate, especially with how well the Morphling is playing this early.
Looks like they are going for a kill on Tiny here. He doesn't have anything to get away right now. If he gets the stun, Prophet will come in. Probably going to throw up the Sprout, and we'll finish him off with the auto attack. So I assume this tower will be in trouble here. We've got the Dragon Knight with his ult up, and then Prophet can always sprout those trees to help tank up the damage while they take out this tier 1 tower and give themselves a little bit of gold advantage after Tiny goes down. Fear is definitely taking his time here, but I think he is also playing very smart for this game. I looked earlier, as you saw it, he does have the double Alchemist bones, or Alchemist bones, Animitis, I guess it is. Still calling out some old Han names for items and heroes once in a while, just force of habit. Played that game for a long time. But so he is definitely gearing up, gonna, not many items early game, but he does have that attack speed, and then using that double Animitis, he will definitely be getting a lot of farm here coming up and catching up to just about anyone else in the game right now and farm pretty soon, I'm sure, and then able to really just wreak havoc. This tier 2 tower is in big trouble. I think it's also going to go down. So the Radiant not doing a whole lot to defend, but they are trying to make a decent trade and take this tier 1 tower with Morphling and Vengeful Spirit. So nice job there. And then also top tower, Brewmaster is putting some damage out on that tier 1. Gonna see if they can't pick up 2 tier 1s for free here. Got Crystal Maiden teleporting in. He won't be able to do a whole lot to stop this unless someone else comes up to help him. Prophet can always TP in, so.
That is one thing that I'm seeing more prevalent now in public games. Oh, hold on top. We're going to get a slow by Crystal Maiden. Not going to do much against that Brewmaster. Brewmaster is going to be looking to push that tower. Only got about 200 health left, so he is going to take down the top tower. Looks like they're going to try and go on Crystal Maiden. Then again, the Morphling is in there again. Brewmaster's going to throw out the Drunken Haze. Not going to quite get him. He's going to get stunned by Skeleton King. He does have his ult, so he's going to split right now. Can't do a whole lot to that. There's a lot of them there. He's going to use his stun on Nature's Prophet, try and go on him. Looks like he is going to get the kill on Nature's Prophet. If he gets one more shot, he will kill Nature's Prophet. Brewmaster's doing pretty well in this game. But then again, he's there against 4 heroes, and his Primal Split's about to run out. It just runs out. He's got a decent amount of health, but he's going to be taken down soon. He's going to try and teleport out, and he's not. He will take down the stun from Dragon Knight, so unfortunately, not too bad. He uses something that he's been doing a lot is uses that split when he's about to die, which is a great maneuver. It's just he doesn't position himself that well for when it runs out. You need to make sure that your order of appearance starts with the Earth Panda every time, and if it's starting to run out, so then you should definitely try and ditch one of the pandas somewhere else, because then if you're just going to respawn right next to them, all their stuns are going to be back. They're not going to... Crixolus isn't going to waste his... Sand King isn't going to waste his Burrow Strike on your creeps unless he's about to die. So he's just going to save that until you come out of your Primal Split. If you get out of that right next to him, you're just going to die right away. And that's what's happened the last 2 deaths for Brewmaster.
Looks like we might have Sand King jumping on Morphling here. He does see him here. He's got the double damage rune. But at the same time, he doesn't have a whole lot he can do by himself at this point. So he might have been afraid someone else was there, and then Morphling can always just use that Strength Morph and really tank up just about anything they can throw at him. So, not going to see any action there. We do have Dragon Knight coming over, seeing what's going on, but we are going to have Fear retreat. Fear does have his Maelstrom up, so we'll definitely be looking for a Molinar at some point. Looking like he might just farm up this bottom lane and possibly TP out here. His bear did drop out of a new one. Do have Dragon Knight coming over, but I don't think Dragon Knight will be able to take him down on his own. So
we had attempted swap gank middle against that Crixolus, but unfortunately he got off the stun, but Crixolus was able to just kind of get through, use that Burrow Strike to kind of evade them. So unfortunately, due to the lack of stun, other than the magic missile from Vengeful Spirit, they weren't really able to lock him down. That Thunderclap wasn't very effective against him. They're just going to throw out some nukes up there against Brewmaster. Not too effective, but just kind of a little bit of harass. But we're gonna see them converging bottom. Looks like they might be going for Roshan. That looks like what Crystal Main's kind of hitting towards. Yep, it looks like they are gonna go for Roshan. It should be relatively easy. That Skeleton King's got his armlet. There's no Radiant wards down there. They have no idea that they're there, except for the fact that most of them are gone. You'll see Nature's Prophet not there. He's not getting advantage of pushing or anything. That was one thing I was going to hint at earlier. Something that I'm seeing more prevalent in public games now than I have before. That's just fantastic. Is when one of your towers is being pushed and you know that that tower is going to die. There's no sense in wasting your lives trying to throw yourself in there to try and help an inevitable cause. It's much better to try and trade for a tower like the Radiant did. They got that middle tower and they led to that top tower being killed instead of all just trying to teleport bottom and save a tower that's going to be falling within the next few minutes anyways. They might as well try and get that trade out anyways.
Do have Roche falling to the Dire team right now. Other than that, Morphling's just farming up top. They don't have any wards bottom, although they might have been counter ward. The Dire did set up for that with a Sentry and a Observer ward to make sure that they were safe. Looks like they are going on this Tiny, but it's actually just a replica from Morphling, so wasting some time on there, just taking out something that didn't really affect the game at all. We do have an Invisirun on Brewmaster, so we'll be looking for possibly some action there. And while action will probably be going down here mid pretty soon, as Dire thinks about pushing in towards this Tier 1, we do have Morphling still farming and pushing in that Tier 2 tower top on the Dire side, so hopefully Morphling will be able to take that and make it a decent trade for him, because they will lose this Tier 1 without anything trying to slow it down.
Exactly, just another example of what I was talking about, that Brewmaster was trying to get in there. He didn't actually engage or anything, which was definitely a good idea in my opinion, but he was trying to get in there, see if he could do anything. It's, again, I've seen a lot of people try and go for the denies on these towers, and then they die in the process, and they end up getting killed anyway. We're going to have an initiation here. Looks like Morphling will end up getting the tower top, but in the meantime, this Craggy Exterior will save Tiny. Looks like we have Sand King sitting over here. He has his Burrow Strike off cooldown. We're going to see if he's going to use it on that Morphling. Morphling, let's see, I can't click him. Morphling does have his Lincoln Sphere now, so that did help him out a little bit. There's a lot of single target stuns on the other side, so that definitely helped him out. You see that on cooldown now, so definitely good pick up this early, this 20-minute Lincoln Sphere. While it might be a little bit late, he still made do with what he had. Got some good farmer early. We're gonna see, and finally we're gonna see Dragon Knight grabbing the haste down bottom, see if he's gonna do anything with that. I don't imagine he will. He's not sitting with a whole lot of health, and his Dragon Form will be on cooldown in the next, I don't know, 15 seconds. So it's probably best for him to just kind of use that to go up and get some more farm.
Say Morphling definitely has some good farm going here for him so far. I mean, it is only 20 minutes in the game, and he has 118 CS already. My guess is that's the highest out of anyone except for Fear. Fear's at almost 150 already, and Skeleton King actually doing pretty dang good himself. He's at 114, so both teams having some really good farm on few heroes, but overall the Dire is actually pretty behind it in the CS. They've got other than Skeleton King, they really don't have anyone sitting too good. Except Nature's Prophet does have 75. Got some action going on up here top. We've got Brewmaster in trouble, getting hit by a couple of stuns. A lot of damage. He will go down. He didn't have an ult to try and help him out there, so good kill for the Dire. And then we've got Fear teleporting back mid just to do a little farm. Talked about the gold earlier, and if we look at it with the CS heavily in the Radiant favor, looks like the gold also is a little bit above 4K in their favor right now. So they are definitely preparing for that late game, just trying to get up some items so they can really, fight the enemy team, especially with that Tiny not really helping out with his spells. He's level 10 already. Still only been going stats, Craggy Exterior, and his ult when he's able to. So really not able to help out his team much at all this game. He does have that Vanguard and treads, but I mean, even those auto attacks, while they do hit hard, he just could be so much more useful if he had gotten even, just throw or just his stun. Do have a Morphling jumping on Nature's Prophet down here, just doing those auto attacks. He was probably saving his stun for if Nature's Prophet tried to TP out, but instead Nature's Prophet was able to just go and biz and walk away.
Speaking of questionable item choices from that Tiny, another one is that this Furion I understand that it just worked out there, but this Furion picked up a Shadow Blade. Very questionable in my opinion. Obviously kind of taboo. I don't see a whole lot of Nature's Prophets with Shadow Blades, but then again, I guess I can watch some pro games more if that's the new trend now. But a Shadow Blade on Nature's Prophet really doesn't offer a whole lot. It's more of an agility type item. It gives some damage. We're going to see Morphling ganked here in middle. It looks like he will not be going down. He's going to use that replicate very well. It's just having a replication sit somewhere else so he can teleport to that whenever he's in need. Definitely a great strategy. Great use of that ultimate. But again, the Shadow Blade on Furion, definitely not something I agree with.
As far as I know, I haven't watched any pro games so far where people have actually gotten a Shadow Blade. At one point, I was actually in public matchmaking, and I was playing a game with EG.Fear. I just got randomly paired up with them, and I random that game, ended up with playing Dro, and this was a while ago, and I still thought maybe Shadow Blade has some merit, and I was having a real hard time. Our team was kind of getting stomped. We were letting Fear down that game, but so our team was having a rough time, and I picked up Shadow Blade thinking maybe I'll be able to survive better. The moment I bought it, Fear talked to me in chat. He was like, hey, Shadow Blade is just not a good idea. You should definitely go for Yasha and pick up Manta instead. It is better in all situations. So apparently, at least from one pro's perspective, you should never get Shadow Blade, but that might change. You do have quite a bit of action here going on mid. Vengeful Spirit did go down. Panda did have to ult. He will also go down, it looks like, just because it might have Morphling flying back in here and then try to Strength Morph and TP out, and that Strength Morph is just enough to keep him alive through all of that damage. We had a CM ult going down, we had 4 heroes auto-attacking him, just so much damage going on. Did have EG.Fear trying to take out this bottom tower while no one was watching, and he will successfully TP out himself. Did have picked up a Force Staff on Dragon Knight, so questionable item choices all around. We've got Force Staff, Dragon Knight, we've got Furion, Nature's Prophet with that Shadow Blade, and then we've got a Tiny who decided to pick up, looks like he's going for a second Vanguard with his treads, and no spells. So definitely a really interesting game to be watching. Morphling did pick up his Yasha though, so he's at least going a pretty stable build that we all know works pretty well for him. And then Brewmaster has that blink, has his phase boots, and I can only assume he'll be picking up possibly drums, turning that bracer into drums.
We're seeing Crystal Maiden run around here in the forest with. Looks like he's just going to use that Invis rune to drop a crucial rune up there. It's going to be right next to a Radiant rune. So I mean a Radiant ward. So we'll see if that becomes of anything. Just kind of chilling down here. Looks like he's going to exit now. I apologize. I can't speak tonight. His invisibility rune is done tonight. So something that Luke was kind of just talking about, or H&L Luke. I don't know, I feel like I'm
dropping
pretty...
names now, dropping names.
Okay, well, either way. Something that he was kind of hinting at over there is some of these questionable item choices. I'd like to point to the Shadow Blade on Nature's Prophet. While that might not be the best item choice that he could have gone with, it is one of those more fun builds. It's something fun to try out. The Radiant definitely wasn't expecting it. Hold on, I'm going to have to take a hiatus from that. The Dire Courier will go down. Good play by Morphling, and good escape with that Shadow Blade by Nature's Prophet. But as you can see, Shadow Blade, it's not bad. In some cases, you can go item choices that, while fun for you, they are bad for your team. I.e., this Tiny. But there is definitely a difference between a fun build, fun items that you just want to try out, or just a build that's not good for your team. That's just completely detrimental to your team.
I think Tiny's definitely exercising that exact strat right now. He's picking up a build and item choices that are possibly fun for him to play, although I don't know how a hero with no spells is fun to play, but you never know. Maybe it's just fun to see how long he can live. So people do definitely do that. We have this tier 1 or tier 3 tower going down quick here for the Radiant, but we also have some pressure on the Dire's tier 1, actually going down even faster to Fear, able to just put out that big damage with the Spirit Bear with the Demolish, bonus 40% damage to buildings. So we do have the SK dropping his ult and coming down. We do have Fear getting swapped out by Vengeful Spirit. Vengeful Spirit looks like he will sacrifice himself in order to keep Fear alive. So very nice play by Vengeful, and he might actually be able to get away. Sand King is low mana, and then did just miss his stun, so Crystal Maiden will throw down his own stun, which will pick up the kill. But overall, really good play, I think, by the Radiant team. They were able to pick up a tier 3 tower. They did not lose theirs mid. Morphling got some farm, got his Manta style. They did kill Prophet, and they did lose Vengeful Spirit and Tiny in that exchange, but I think that was definitely worth it. Still, definitely came out in their favor. We've got a DC by Morphling. We'll see if they possibly pause and wait for him, since he's huge in their lineup right now as for how well they do in team fights, pushes, defend, you know, just about everything. So hopefully we'll get a pause for him to come back and this good game will keep going. Another quick look at the gold graph. Radiant are up about 7.7k right now, so still just slowly climbing that mountain, getting bigger and bigger lead. Looks like while Morphling is disconnected, people might be just running around with him to farm. Not sure what Radiant hero is doing that, but I suppose that works too instead of pausing it for him. They're just going to have him run around kind of AFK farm creeps.
Looks like Lone Druid has picked up his Molinar. He has it coming in on his... He has it all on the Courier. He also has a Reaver on the Courier. Yeah, but it looks like the Reaver is his, so it looks like he's probably going to be going for a Satanic. He does have that Helm Dominator. Satanic will make him pretty potent in his... Doesn't look like he has his ultimate form yet, but that should make him pretty potent in team fights, able to get a lot of health back, and he just has a lot of health from that in the first place. In other news, we have Dragon Knight kind of gathering up by Roshan. It looks like he's going to have Skeleton King come in there. The two of them are more than capable enough of taking down Roshan themselves. The question is who's going to grab the Aegis. It looks like at this point the Skeleton King has been doing a little bit better. So the Skeleton King in theory would probably be a better choice, but he does already have that reincarnation as his ultimate. So there's always a question, is it worth it to get that Aegis on top of the Skeleton King, on top of that already reincarnation? In some cases, you'll see that it does help out. In other cases, it would be nice to have that on another hero. In this case, Dragon Knight, probably not the best candidate. While he does do a lot of damage, most of that damage comes from his ultimate. And when he uses that and he dies and he comes back from an Aegis, there's just not a whole lot of damage that he can put out without that ultimate form. He's a melee hero. All he really has is that Breathe Fire and his Dragon Tail. So there's not a whole lot he can do. That's why you'll see that Aegises aren't really picked up a whole lot on Dragon Knights.
It's like we have a Ghost Scepter up on Brewmaster. Not sure if that's just to combat the big damage that comes into him from the enemy team when he does get stunned, or what the deal is there. I suppose they don't really have that much. Well, you've got to count epicenter, so they do have that much meta. But they also have just a ton of auto attack damage here with Skeleton King, especially with those big crits coming out. And looks like it will actually save Brewmaster at this point, just for a little bit. He was able to get away from Skeleton King with the Saintly Prophet ult came in. I was looking at the CS earlier, and Fear just really racking up that farm. He was at over 250 CS at this point. Looks like, yeah, 258 he's at right now. Morphling's almost at 200, so I mean, their carries are definitely farming a lot harder than the Dyer's carries right now. But we'll see if Morphling comes back, or else if he doesn't, it could really be trouble for the Radiant team. He is definitely a key player.
Burns, doesn't it?
This Tiny has indeed picked up his third Vanguard, and he put in his first skill into Avalanche, so maybe there he goes, and he's going to throw that Avalanche out. Not a whole lot he can do about it, but I mean, that stun is nice to see for the first time in 30 minutes. They're not going to be able to put in a whole lot of damage on Dragon Knight. It looks like EG.Fear is doing a lot of damage. He has that Satanic, stealing a lot of health back. He's going to take down that Skeleton King. Is going to come back, though, with his regeneration. I mean, with his reincarnation, not a whole lot to do about that. Morphling is going to come in, the Ghost Morphling, going to get a kill on Nature's Prophet and going to die. So good use of that, AFK hero to try and rack in another kill. But this Lone Druid's farm is just insane. With the double Midas, he's just able to get in a ton of health. You're going to see Panda, he's going to jump in, throw out a clap, going to jump in his dual ult, going to get a pretty easy kill. Then they're going to try and take down Sand King. Does look like that stun from Tiny, the clutch stun from Tiny, 31 minutes in. Very nice. This Skeleton King going to throw up that Black King bar. He has a Monkey King bar, a Black King bar. Let's just say he's been loaded out with a lot of money. He has 1,600 gold in the bank. He's just doing way too much damage for any of these guys to put up against, except for Lone Druid, who can seal all that back with his life seal. He's going to try and throw up a stun. He is going to get invaded by He is going to get evaded by Panda's Blink Dagger.
Radiant's bottom
You know,
tower is
Tiny,
under
better
attack.
late than never. Those stuns that came out actually
Radiant's
were,
middle
you know,
tower
pretty
is under
solid by
attack.
him. You know, hopefully he'll be picking up more levels in his Avalanche and his Toss as time goes, and, you know, he could actually become a factor in these fights. We do have Morphling. He reconnected to the game, so won't have to worry about the Radiant team microing an entire second hero. So hopefully that'll fare a little bit better for him in team fights, but Man, Lone Druid and Morphling both just putting out insane auto attack damage when those team fights happen, when they're able to, you know, just fight people down. Dragon Knight looks like he's working towards the pipe. He's not too far off of it. He's about just 3 gold off of being able to pick up the recipe for that headdress, and then he'll just be 900 away from finishing up the pipe with that recipe. So we do have Satanic finished up on Lone Druid. I don't know if that's been commented on before. We do have Dragon Knight in trouble here, though. He's got a Lone Druid and Morphling chasing after him. Looks like they might change to Sand King, but Sand King just goes in biz. Not a whole lot they can do there. Wasn't able to get any lucky entangles on the Dragon Knight, so he will run away. But then that Tiny, again, better late than never, comes in with that Avalanche to knock Sand King out of his invis, and then able to pick up the kill. They also do take out Crystal Maiden. And then looks like Brewmaster is going to be looking for Nature's Prophet. Shadowblade will allow him to escape, so they're going to say not worth chasing. Instead, we're going to go after Skeleton King and probably the tier 2 tower mid.
They're not going to have enough damage to take down that Skeleton King in his Black King bar. They just don't have the firepower when he's not stunned. They will take down this tier 2 tower. Tiny, craggy exterior, Tiny leading the front run. He does have about 2,600 health, lots of damage block. Does have a lot of chance to stun melee attackers that are trying to attack him, so unfortunate. Dragon Knights who do not have their ultimate, and Skeleton Kings and Sand Kings all trying to attack him. They do have that chance to get stunned. Looks like they're going to try pretty hard to take down this tower. I don't think it's going to be possible this time. That stun from Sand King is going to kind of delay them a little bit. Now that Morphling's back, it's nice to have him back. Not a whole lot that they can do, though. It's just too much firepower. They had a pretty good push. They're going to see if they can regroup and try and come back a little bit later, when maybe Lone Druid has even more fun.
We did just have a Diffuse Blade fly out from Morphling right before this fight. I assume he's getting asked that when he attacks Skeleton King might not have enough mana to reincarnate if he dies, if he gets, you know, hit by that Diffuse Blade too much. Although he does still have that no Soul Ring. But he does have that Aegis still as well, so Morphling getting taken down, now having the TV out. Brewmaster did go down, he did buy back. Tiny looks like he'll also fall. Just so many stuns on the Dire team. We've got one on Dragon Knight, one on Skeleton King, one on Sand King, and one on Crystal Maiden. So 4 stuns by their team. Makes it really hard in the team fights. You do have Panda jumping in, he will Thunderclap and then ult. See who you can't take out here. They're able to take out Dragon Knight and Sand King. Fear is also just auto-attacking away at the Skeleton King. Big crits will hurt him though, and then we also have Nature's Prophet auto-attacking him. So it looks like Fear will retreat, but they are going to go on Skeleton King here. Able to get a stun off by the Earth Panda, and then also just auto-attacking him down, and the Adept Strike for Morphling. So that team fight worked out really well for him. They got 4 kills. I think overall they might have lost 2 or 3 heroes, but there was a buyback by Brewmaster, and I think Vengeful Spirit respawned since he died. So it looks like Nature's Prophet's going to try and push out the bottom lane here, see if he can't put a little bit of pressure on him, but I do think that the Radiant might be able to, if nothing else, they should finish off this tier 3 tower. One thing I want to point out for Tiny, even though he hasn't been, you know, the most helpful hero for him, and he is going, you know, weird build and everything, he did finally pick up that stun, and one thing you gotta give him credit for is he does hit like a truck. That huge base damage from leveling up that ult to level 3. Looks like Morphling will easily take out Crystal Maiden here, and then he will be able to just waveform away, dodge a couple stuns, and potentially just get out completely unscathed. Radiant aren't able to take out this tier 3 tower, but they did pick up another kill and able to pick up some farm as well here.
Something that I just really like to credit him is this Fear from EG. He's just really, I hate to kind of use this saying, but really kind of put the team on his back here, especially while Morphling was gone. He just really took this team, took it by the reins. He used that superior creep score. He's at 303 creep kills with an outstanding 0 denies, and he really used that farm to take advantage of the game while that Morphling was gone, who was the majority hero in the early to middle game. So just huge props to Fear. They've got a couple kills up here. Morphling gets a double kill, obviously huge. The Shadow Blade coming up big again for the Furion. So maybe this is the best day for all these weird builds. Unfortunately, does not grant move speed. He will be caught up to by Morphling.
It also does not help that Vengeful Spirit was carrying around, I believe, 2 sets of Sentry Wards and laid them all out. Looks like actually 3. I see at least 5 down on the map right now. I think I see all 6 actually. really good play here mid that we saw, but we didn't hear about it just because, you know, we were talking about some other stuff. But good play by Morphling. We had a good spot by Vengeful Spear. They were able to take down SK and Dragon Knight, able to take down SK with one of those sentry wards, and then Dragon Knight fall into a good swap, followed up by Diffusal Blade. Sand King trying to do what he can to defend against his tower, but he has to back or he'll go down. Looks like Sand King just jumping in and trying to do a little bit of damage. And then looks like the Radiant team have actually backed up, but definitely looking very good for the Radiant at this point. They've got Fear. He's got 2,100 gold right now. He's got a Satanic, 2 Hand of Midases. He's got a Molinar. His Bear's running around with a Hyperstone and a Skull Basher, as well as an Orb of Venom. So, I mean, his auto attack damage is huge. His slow is huge. He can bash you. He has that lifesteal. He has that magic damage coming out when the Molinar procs. It's just completely ridiculous how much damage he does if the Dire team cannot hold him down. I am a little bit surprised he hasn't picked up a BKB with all the stuns that are coming out from the Dire team. But, you know, he knows what he's doing better than I do, and maybe just all that pure damage is something good. One thing I wanted to point out about his playstyle, though, I haven't seen him use his ult very much. He's level 23 and still has it only level 1. Something that I typically see in pro games is that once they get that ult, they use it. They go into true form where they are melee, and that is about all they really use for the rest of the game. I see him run around farming that. I see him, you know, do team fights with it, and that's something I was just, you know, kind of curious about, because I know back in Dota 1, I always really liked staying in this ranged form. I thought it was, you know, really powerful, and the only time I ever really used my ult was when I was, you know, trying to escape from someone or needed to be tanky for whatever reason. Or if I picked up a Vlad's, I'd switch into it and run around that way, I guess, with my Bear to help us both stay alive. But I just kind of like that play, something that you don't see in like the real high-level games. There might be something to that, you know, I'm not getting, or maybe, you know, you just really need that extra help. But just something interesting I wanted to point out.
I don't know if you guys saw that, because I don't think H&L was on the same page as me, but this Panda just went into his ultimate randomly in the middle lane and just kind of went around to try and see if he can get some farm down here. Apparently they do not want that Tiny getting too fat on their own team. He's picked up a mech. He has 3 Vanguards. They just don't want him stealing all the fun, so I don't know what's going on there. We do see Sand King jumping in there, not throwing up an ult or anything, but just jumping in there trying to poke his head around, see what's up. He just kills right away, so I don't really know what went through his head. He might not have known that they were there, but then again, he did have an Observer Ward right next to them, so I don't know. Maybe he was just trying to be a MacGyver and make something out of nothing, but let me just tell you, there was nothing there.
We do still also have this Vengeful Spirit running around with just massive amounts of sentry wards. He threw down 2 down here, I guess. You know, 1 up here, 1 over here, and this sentry ward over here just made it no chance Sand King was getting away, even if he did get Fizz. We do have Morphling and Brewmaster going to take down this Roach very easily between themselves, split up in Aegis and a cheese among them. Brewmaster did pick up a Force Staff. And then up top here we do have Fear doing his best to get away from Skeleton King and Nature's Prophet, able to throw that Bear back behind him and get in some auto attacks for a nice entangle while he just, you know, walks away super fast with those phase boots, and then with his Rabbit up 20% move speed there, so real good by him. And then with this Tiny, you know, I mean, we were really ragging on him earlier. He did pick up a Ghost Scepter now as well, 3 Vanguards and a mech. I was, you know, really not rooting for him earlier on. I was like, man, you know, this guy's kind of ruining the game. But the more this goes on, and, you know, the carries are really helping out, you know, getting those towers and everything, and getting that far themselves to really help out the team. But now that this Tiny has, you know, really got some items, he's kind of growing on me, you know. He's kind of something, you know, fun for me to look at and just think about, you know, what is going through this guy's head, and how, you know, ridiculous is it that he's still on the winning team and hasn't just, you know, hurt his team tremendously at this point. But he did pick up that mech to support. He's got that Ghost Scepter to help him stay alive. You know, you never know what'll happen. He's got level 2 Avalanche now. You know, he's got to be running out of points he can put in stats by now. So maybe we'll see a, you know, a toss coming out someday soon.
I wouldn't get your hopes up, H&L.
Looks like we do have quite the team fight here. Skeleton King popping his BKB and his auto attack, and Vengeful Spear down. But Vengeful is able to swap. Looked like he swapped SK out of his ult, so very good play by him, and it also saved him. Dragon Knight going down, and then Skeleton King, no BKB left, taken out by Morphling there. Not a whole lot he can do. Looks like we have Sand King brought back and tried to jump back in to help out. Tiny running around auto attacking. Crystal Maiden might fall. Morphling taking a huge crit from SK. able to waveform away, and then probably using that strength morph to go right back up. He does have his Ethereal Blade finished up, and that is what took out the Dragon Knight so quickly earlier. Got kind of getting caught here. Might actually get away, throwing down that stun, using that Ghost Scepter, but he does get sprouted and he will drop.
This Ghost Scepter idea from the Radiant side, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it. Do we see Morphling jumping in there, getting the kill on Crystal Maiden, and then replicating out? Very, very good play by this Morphling. He really picked it up, especially in that last series of team fights. He really got a bunch of good kills, especially when Lone Druid wasn't even there. So that was mostly all on Morphling there. But going back to this Ghost Scepter idea from the Radiant, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of it. There's a lot of magical damage from the Dire side. There's Furiant's ultimate. There's Skeleton King's little stun that does a pretty good amount of damage. Crystal Maiden has 3 skills that all do magical damage. Sand King has 2 skills that do tons of magical damage. One of them including his ultimate, which is tons and tons of magical damage. There's Breathe Fire from the Dragon Knight. So I personally just think it's a death wish to be activating that in the middle of a team fight.
Here we do have the Dire team trying to kill Morphling, then we've got EG.Fear running in, just throwing out that huge attack damage, taking down Sand King like it was nothing. He is getting chain stuck here and auto attack down. Looks like he might fall. Just falls, almost got away there, but we do have Morphling finishing up Nature's Prophet, and it looks like they might be able to take out SK too. They did throw down the Diffuse Blade on him and the auto attacks, hoping to take down enough mana to where he won't be able to reincarnate, but he did have a little bit left there. We do see a toss from Tiny. Tiny has level 2 toss. You know, I was hoping to see that all game and finally saw it, so pretty exciting here. The Radiant team really handled that team fight well. So far traded 4 for 0, and looks like Prophet will be able to run out. Prophet did finish up that Desolator, so it was really improving his auto attack damage as well as his team's, but just with this Morphling and the Lone Druid, just not a whole lot they can really do. Just such a tanky team, as well as just so much damage coming out. It is ridiculous. I did look at the gold and the XP graphs earlier, and the Radiant team have just done an amazing job both getting an advantage in gold and experience. Just huge. I think the gold graph was 22k difference. Now it's up closer to 20, I don't know, 24 maybe. Something quite a bit higher, and then the XP graph was over 30. Just under 30k now, so the Radiant really sitting well on both of those. At this point, the experience, I'm sure, will only go in the way of the Dire. It'll start slowly dipping back down because we do have a 25 Druid and 25 Morphling, so they can't gain any more experience, but I don't think it'll really affect a whole lot. We've got the mid-racks gone for the Dire. Their team fights really haven't been going that well for them. The Radiant has been playing really well with the swaps from the Vengeful Spirit. You know, he is only level 16. He was 13 just a short while ago, but he's been doing a great job supporting. Really sacrificing his items for the good of the team. He's only got Phase Boots, a Bracer, and a Magic Wand. Other than that, he's just been, you know, massing those Sentry Wards, been TPing when he can, just really helping the team out a lot. They really haven't been getting a lot of Observer Wards, though.
One thing I am going to say that I think has been holding back this Dire team has been their Nature's Prophet. That Shadow's Blade early, while that might not have been that big of a deal, the biggest problem, in my opinion, is his playstyle. I'm not saying that he's a bad player by any means, but I feel like he's not really using Fury into his whole potential with that teleportation. 20-second cooldown, he can be pushing lanes and then all of a sudden be back in the team fight. I really feel like he should always be pushing a lane and then teleport to a different one, or always be using that ultimate when it's off cooldown. He has been doing that a little bit more, which is great, obviously. But he just has not been taking advantage of the fact that he can teleport to lanes and push them and then get back in time for the team fight. He can force team fights to not occur if that's something that the Dire doesn't want to happen. If they're missing a person and the Radiant are trying to push, he can go push another lane and try and force them to retreat from that team fight. It's just he has not been taking advantage of that teleport. He just hasn't.
We do have Boots of Travel up on Morphling. We've got the Monkey King Bar up on Fear here on the Lone Druid, and it looks like Morphling, I can only assume he's going to be turning that ulti orb into Eye of Scatty. So Morphling just about finished with basically like the best item build I can imagine on him anyways. If I could, you know, put some items together and say this is the best thing you can get on Morphling, I think all these items are definitely on my list. I really like that build. Tons of damage, got plenty of survivability and health, just, you know, all around good build, I think. While we are in a bit of a lull here, not a whole lot is happening. The Radiant team is just kind of farming, slowly pushing some lanes in, so looks like we might have something going on soon. But while we do have a lull, just want to thank everyone who does watch the videos that I put up. Really appreciate any views, any comments, you know, whatever people have to say. I'm happy to read it, happy to listen and try and work on things to make people enjoy my cast a little bit better. And I'm sure National enjoys the views as well.
Absolutely, I will make this promise that if we get this video to 1,000 views, I will make a guide on how to play the 3 Vanguard Tiny. It's a very coveted strategy, and I'm willing to get an interview with this. How do you get sliced, and really get to the inside technique of how to pull off a Tiny like this, how to pull off 3,600 health 48 minutes into the game. It's not a whole lot of people can do it. There's one person who can do it. How do you get sliced? And I promise you I will be getting a guide from him if this gets 1,000 views.
You never know. Be watching out for a new meta game coming out in the pro scene here. Tiny getting picked up, you know, and going this interesting build. Obviously, the Radiant team is making it work. Maybe pros can too. You never know. I do think the Radiant could honestly use to be a bit more aggressive here. I mean, if they wanted to, I do think they could really just all meet up bottom and just push that in. It looks like the Dire team actually have just AFK'd at this point. We do have Nature's Property TP'd up here where no one will be able to see him, and he's just kind of chilling here, commenting about his Furion armor, how he likes it. And then his other 4 teammates just chilling in the fountain. So looks like the Radiant will just stroll through here with their creeps, finish off this Rax, and then push in and probably drone it here. So probably a GG was called out by the Dire team. They just were not able to stand up to the might that is this Morphling, and EG.Fear's lone druid just so unbelievably powerful. Has that Assault Curious up on his.
Hey, H&L, do you mind pulling up the thing that shows the graph? Yep. Go ahead and look at those creep kills by EG.Fear. 498 creep kills, 0 denies. That is a spectacle that's not achieved by a whole lot of people. I can proudly say that I've never gotten 498 creep kills. That by itself, EG.Fear is what turned this game around, and that's why I'm so glad that I got the chance to cast this game. Is while I thought early that it was definitely going in the way of the Dire, which it was, EG.Fear turned this thing around, and that's why I'm so glad that we got the chance to watch him.
That is ridiculous farm. That is with this 49-minute game. That is over 10 creeps per minute, which is pretty dang solid because only 1 wave comes out per minute, and that would be, you know, 5 to 6 is all. But you know, farming up that jungle, moving lanes, it all worked out great for him. Did have the 761 gold per minute, just very well played by the Radiant. They had a lot of really nice teamwork that I liked. They had really good support by Vengeful Spirit, and again that mech by the Tiny, you know, helped them out a little bit, I'm sure. But just good play. Had a lot of nice ganks, had a lot of nice team fights. Just well played all around. The Dire team also did pretty well. I think they did better in the earlier game though. In the late game they just couldn't keep up with the farm. But that is the end of the game. There's the score screen for everyone. So thank you all for tuning in again. Really appreciate it. And I'll be putting this up on YouTube real soon. And hopefully all of you will be checking out my other videos that I have up now. And I'll be trying to put out a lot more in the future. It's kind of been a bit of a break. But I'll quit rambling now and end this cast. Hope to see you guys in the future.